She stood at the edge of my land like she owned it. Arms crossed, sunglasses on, clipboard in hand. That same smug smile she wore every time she thought she'd won. "You've got 24 hours to remove that pump," she said, tapping her pen against her little clipboard. "HOA doesn't allow personal wells. Against aesthetics?" I didn't say a word, just looked past her. Down at the well I had dug myself 40 feet deep, sealed pure groundwater. The one I paid for. On my land, not theirs. Next morning it was gone. Well, cap smashed, pump missing, the whole well shaft. Filled to the top with hard-set concrete. I swear I could still smell the cement drying. I called the city. They didn't do it. I called the HOA board. They laughed. One of them even said, "Guess you'll have to start following our water usage limits now, huh?" That's when I realized something. They weren't just trying to control the land. They were trying to control me. So I opened the folder I kept in my gun safe. In the one with the paperwork they didn't know I had. Let's just say, they should have read the fine print on their water supply contract. Because by the time they turned their sprinklers on that weekend, nothing came out. ChatGPT said. The panic started slow, just a few angry emails in the community group chat. Why isn't my shower working? Anyone else's sprinklers dead? My pool refill stopped mid-flow? By noon, the HOA president, Karen herself, was banging on my gate like a lunatic. "You can't do this," she screamed, red in the face. "You're messing with essential services." I just stepped out, calm as ever, holding my coffee and the thick file of documents I had pulled from my safe the night before. "I'm not messing with anything," I said. "I'm enforcing my rights." Her eyes flicked to the folder. I watched the moment her confidence cracked. See, 20 years ago, when this whole development was built, the original landowner had to grant access to the city for water infrastructure. The problem? That infrastructure ran through my land. And guess who inherited the grandfathered rights to that supply easement? Me. The HOA had never bothered to renegotiate it. I'd up to busy writing citations for mailbox height and lawn colors. I filed an emergency injunction that morning, temporary. Freeze on all HOA-controlled usage until a proper agreement was signed. And it got approved fast. Why? Because the city knew exactly how nasty it could get when someone with full control over the main valve wanted to play hardball. Karen didn't blink. She twitched. "This is extortion," she hissed. "No," I said, stepping closer. "This is me using the same rules you love to shove in everyone else's face." That's when her phone rang in from the look on her face. Whatever she heard next was really bad. She turned away from me, still clutching the phone, pacing like a trapped animal. I didn't move. I wanted her to feel it, that sinking feeling in her stomach when the world starts flipping upside down. I understand," she said into the phone, voice trembling. "We'll resolve it. I'll talk to him." She turned back toward me, her voice suddenly sugar-coated. "Look, maybe we got off on the wrong foot. I'm sure this was just a misunderstanding. Things worse, right?" I raised an eyebrow. "Worse than you trespassing, destroying my property, and cutting off the only clean water source I had on this land." She didn't answer. She didn't have to, because at that exact moment, a black SUV rolled up to the gate. Not police. For hurt, 2 men in suits, one carrying a clipboard, the other wearing a city utilities badge. Karen's face dropped. "They asked for me by name, sir. We've reviewed the documents you submitted this morning. You're the legal easement holder, and these lines fall under your control until further notice." Karen stepped in, stammering. "But this affects the entire HOA. Families, children." One of the officials turned to her with a practiced smile. "Then maybe your board should have thought twice before violating property law and tampering with someone else's well." Karen tried to speak again, but the clipboard guy held up a hand. "Also, just to clarify, if the HOA attempts to reconnect or bypass the main supply line without the owner's approval, they could be liable for criminal damage and infrastructure interference." Her mouth opened. Nothing came out. I looked at her one last time. "You filled my well with concrete," I said quietly. "Now let's see how long you last without water." By that evening, the HOA group chat had turned into a war zone. People were furious, not just annoyed, raging. Screenshots flew everywhere. One homeowner posted a photo of their backyard pool half-drained. Another showed dishes stacked in the sink, crusted in soap. Someone even shared a clip of their toddler crying in the bathtub, water sputtering from the faucet. And every single message had one thing in common: this is Karen's fault. Turns out, most residents didn't even know about what she did to my well. But once word got out, it spread like wildfire. People started asking questions, real questions. Like why HOA fees kept going up while services got worse, why Karen never disclosed certain contracts, why so many citations were issued, but only 2 people she personally didn't like. Then someone dropped a bombshell. I work for city planning. Check some records. Karen never had legal approval to enforce half the HOA rules she's been pushing. Boom. Just like that, the dam broke. Residents started organizing. Someone made a poll. Should we call an emergency board vote? Within an hour, over 80% had said yes. Karen tried damage control, posting long, passive-aggressive replies blaming me for being vindictive, calling it an attack on the community. But no one was buying it anymore. Even her own board members started backing away. By midnight, she posted one last message. I'll be stepping back temporarily to focus on my family. Thank you for understanding. Yeah, right, the next morning, she was gone. Porch cleared, blinds shut. For sale sign hammered crooked into the lawn, like a quiet little confession. But I wasn't done. Karen may have disappeared, but the damage she caused was still sitting in my ground, 40 feet deep, hardened like a tombstone. My well wasn't just ruined, it was violated. And the worst part? No apology.
How apology?
Just silence and a moving truck in the night. So I filed charges: destruction of private utility, trespassing, environmental tampering. I had time-stamped photos, soil reports. A neighbor's dash cam even caught 2 of her board buddies wheeling bags of concrete into my yard just past midnight. It wasn't just petty revenge, it was a coordinated act. So now it was criminal. A week later, I got a call. District Court had approved the case. Kieran, along with 2 former HOA board members, were being subpoenaed. And since one of them was dumb enough to brag in a group chat about shutting that hillbilly's water down, their own words became evidence. But something strange happened next. The new HOA president, some guy named Brett, who apparently used to fix pools, came by my gate. He looked nervous. Sweaty palms, polite voice, practically trembling. We just want to resolve things, he said. No more drama. Then drop the citations, null the fines, and draft a new water access agreement, I said flatly. He nodded too quickly. Done. Already working on it. Turned to leave, but I stopped him. Oh, and one more thing. He looked back. Dig up my well. And I want every inch of concrete gone, and I'm not paying a dime for it. The color drained from his face, but that could take days. Special equipment. Good, I said. I'll be watching. Guess. For the first time in months, I had the upper hand. And I was done playing nice. The digging started the next morning. A backhoe rolled up just after sunrise, escorted by 2 nervous-looking workers in HOA-branded polos. They didn't say much, just nodded, avoided eye contact, and got to work tearing up the damage there. Board had left behind. It was slow, loud, messy. But I stood there on my porch every hour, coffee in hand, watching every scoop of concrete come up like pieces of a buried lie. Neighbors walked by, some giving me thumbs up, others stopping to say how glad they were someone had finally stood up to the tyranny. Their words, not mine. By day 3, they hit metal. My original submersible pump twisted and cracked. From the weight of the pour, I didn't flinch. I'd already ordered a new one. On the 4th day, a city inspector showed up, clipboard in hand. Same guy from before. Looks like everything checks out, he said, glancing at the cleared shaft. Once it's flushed and sealed, you'll be back in business. And I was by the end of the week. Clean water was flowing again, but that's not the part that made headlines. See? Someone, probably one of the workers, had leaked photos of the concrete-filled well to a local news blog. The article went viral. HOA pours concrete in veterans' well, was the headline. Yeah, that part they didn't know about me. Retired Army logistics officer. 21 years of service. Quiet life now, sure. But I kept records. I followed rules. And when people pushed too far, I pushed back harder. Within hours, national outlets picked it up. Karen's name, all over it, and the kicker. Her new job, the one she quietly took in a nearby county, gone, fired the same day. Apparently her new employer didn't. Love being linked to felony vandalism and federal easement violations. Guess karma runs on tap water now.